You want to stop chasing after clients, but you have invoices that are 20 to 30 days past due and you just can't get your customers to pay you on time. You're also having to babysit your crews because you have customer complaints coming in from the crews not doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? And you're answering to text messages at 10 p.m. at night because you didn't have enough time to answer them during the day as you were taking phone calls, driving around town, giving a million estimates, and trying to book new appointments for new leads. I know exactly what this feels like. Today, I'm going to be giving you 7 tools that have helped us get our time back. My name's Andrea, and with my husband, we purchased a landscaping company 2 years ago. Year 1, we were completely miserable. Year 2, after implementing all these tools, it was a complete game changer for us. These are the exact applications and automations that we use in our business to save us between 10 and 20 hours every single week. And no, this is not just theory, and I'm not just a tech person giving you advice without knowing exactly how to implement it. These are real tools that we're using today in our service business to make our life as business owners a lot easier. I have saved the best one for last, so make sure you stay until the end. Let's dive in. Let's start with number 1, and that is going to be your CRM. This is the brains of the business. This is what keeps track of everything inside the business so that you don't forget to do it. The CRM is going to allow you to book new requests for new estimates. It's going to send those estimates for you. It's going to create the job so that you can dispatch the team, create an actual set schedule, and it's going to also have invoices. So it sends the invoice after the job has already been completed. The most important part of the CRM is that it allows you to schedule the crew on a recurring schedule or in a one-time schedule. So if they have to do a service one time, you just assign it to the crew for one day. And then once they complete the job, it automatically tells you to invoice that job. If you have a recurring service, it's going to allow you to set the schedule either weekly, bi-weekly. For our business, it was a game changer because before we had this, we actually had our manager sitting down at least 30 minutes every single day looking at a paper to see which 10, 12 properties he would schedule for that particular date, which was a complete waste of time when you have systems like this one. Most of the CRMs have a free trial that you can actually use to see which software works best for your business. I definitely encourage you to take a look at House School Pro. You also have Service Titan, you have Jobber, you have Aspire. So you may want to take a look at all of these ones and see which one works best for you. Okay, tool number 2 is going to be centralized phone system. So on our end, we're using Ring Central. I've also heard a lot of positive things about Open Phone. The reason why it works is because you have the applications downloaded on our computer, on our phone. So let's say I have access to it, my husband, our manager has access to it, and we're able to automatically in one application see all the text messages that are coming in for all of our customers. We're able to see the customer's calls. We also have recordings for every single call. And so whenever a customer reaches out back to us and say, I called on this day and I said this and I said that and I canceled or whatever, we're able to go on the system, check the call log, input the customer's phone number, take a look at the recording. I actually listen to it if I have to, and then I'm able to come back to the customer and say, hey, you're absolutely right. We messed up here. Before we started using Ring Central, the previous owner was actually just using his regular cell phone as the company phone number. And so you would have this phone that was ringing the entire time. They don't know what to do with all those calls. The manager wasn't actually taking them. So who was taking all these calls? It was just a complete nightmare. It has saved us at least 1 to 2 hours every single week. You can also have auto replies. You can have extension routing if it's something that you wanted to do. You can make it as advanced as you want to or as simple and basic. On our end, we just have a shared line so everyone knows what's going on and we all get the same calls, text messages, and everything, right? So, okay, tool number 3, and that is going to be QuickBooks, and it's going to make your life so much easier in terms of counting, knowing your numbers, knowing where you have room for grace, room for improvement. And if you don't know your numbers, you don't know what you need to do with your business. You don't know where your money is going. You don't know anything. So it's very important to make sure that you have your profit and loss statement up to date and correct. It also makes my life so much easier when it's time to do taxes with the IRS. And so I definitely recommend using QuickBooks. At first, I was a little bit fearful of using QuickBooks because it just seemed too complicated, complex, and I wasn't really sure how to use it. I even tried hiring an accountant and a bookkeeper to take care of our account. And it was a complete disaster. He completely screwed up everything. And Then I learned to do it by myself. I learned that it actually synchronizes with our CRM. Whenever a client has a new invoice, it's automatically synchronized with QuickBooks. If they make a new payment, we also see that in QuickBooks. It also synchronizes with our banks, so we know when we have expenses or credit cards. Everything is automatically synchronized on QuickBooks. All I have to do is sit down maybe 1 hour every single month to categorize the expenses, even though mostly I already have rules for it, so that I know, let's say if I'm going to Home Depot, it's going to be supplies and materials automatically. So I just have to scroll over it and just click accept and save everything, and it's good to go. And we're going to have our P&L up to date. We know if we're doing good, we know if we're doing bad. Everything is completely up to date on QuickBooks. We'll also use it to do payroll, to pay our employees. And so it's all easy and fast with QuickBooks. On to tool number 4. That is going to be YStack. YStack is actually a financing platform. So the way it works is that you send an estimate to your customer receives it, they have, let's say, a 30% or 50% down payment, and then they're going to apply to YStack. It's not going to run their credit, so it doesn't run their credit score. They select the plan, you get paid up front once the job has actually been completed. So you're not chasing checks, you're not chasing after your customers, you get paid as soon as the job is completed. And then the customer just continues to pay YStack, let's say, in the next 12 months for the $20,000 that they finance, for example. Let's go on to tool number 5. And I get really, really pumped up and really excited about this one. And this is Retail AI. And this is our voice agent that uses artificial intelligence to take our customers' calls with our customer service representative. But it also makes outbound calls whenever an invoice is more than 20 days past due. So the way it works, essentially, you go to Retail AI, you set a prompt, you provide it with the knowledge base, you train it, you make sure that it works exactly the way you want it to. On our end, Kate, our Retail AI voice agent, she's actually gathering all the information from our CRM. So whenever a customer calls, she knows the customer's name, property address, and she even knows when the last service date was completed and when the next service date is going to be completed. Whenever a lead calls, she automatically books that request for a new estimate in our CRM for our manager. So I remember before having this, before having a manager, it was my husband and I both working, trying to answer all the company's calls. And so I was at home, I was trying to take the calls, hiding in a room, the kids crying outside, and I was just like, oh yes, how can I help you? And so it was a nightmare. And whenever I wasn't answering the calls because the kids were crying and it was a huge mess inside our house, it was my husband, as he was driving around the entire town, providing estimates, going after the crews, solving problems. He was trying to answer the call, and he would try to just create the request, and he would then call me. He would be like, oh, someone called, they want a new request, but I was driving and I couldn't put the information on the CRM. Can you help me do it? Just listen to the call and help me put in the information. And so now that we have Kate, she's amazing. She just books the estimate right away. We gather all of the leads informations. We put it into CRM. She puts it into the CRM. She even receives complaints from current customers and assigns it to our manager. She's great. She makes my life so much better. I think, she just makes life so easy, works 24/7, doesn't complain, barely gets paid. She calls all of our past due invoices. So before, I would have to be the one that was calling customers chasing for payments, right? So I would get really frustrated. When customers don't pay me, I get frustrated. So now, I don't like calling. Two problems would happen before when we had past due invoices. I would forget that I had to call this past due invoices. So 30 days would pass, 40 days would pass, and this person has not paid me. So then, it becomes a nightmare because then they're like, oh, they kind of conveniently forgot to pay. And so it was just an overall thing. So whenever it wasn't that I forgot about calling and chasing the customer for the invoice, it would be that I would call the customer and I would get a little bit frustrated. I was like, it's been 30 days. Like, why haven't you paid? And I don't want to be rude to the customer, but at the same time, I'm like, why haven't you paid? So Adrian is our employee that calls the customers, and he's very polite. He does not get frustrated. He calls the customer and just says, hey, how are you? I want to know why you haven't processed your payment. Is there anything I can do to help you process your payment? And whenever the customer doesn't want to pay, he just says, well, I do have to let you know that if you don't process the payment, it's going to be sent to collections. Oh yeah, it's very unfortunate. I don't want that to happen. And we don't want it to happen, but if we have to, we can also put a lien on your property, which we don't want that to happen either. And so suddenly the customer actually wants to make the payment. There's customers that they just forget, and then there's customers that they just find ways to avoid paying. And so we kind of find a way to deal with both customers, because Adrian is calling them every other day until they actually process their payment. Adrian even sends an automated link that lets them log into their client portal so they can view all their invoices and process payments for whatever is past due. So before having Kate, we actually tried hiring a virtual assistant to take all of our company's calls and kind of help with that. And we tried hiring in Jamaica. We tried hiring in Philippines. We tried hiring in Colombia. We tried hiring in Venezuela. And let me tell you, my favorite employee has been Kate. She is just great. I mean, the lady in Philippines, she was just sleeping while it was time to take calls here in the United States. The lady in Jamaica, she started having a second job at the same time as we were having her work. As I understand that some business owners may be a little hesitant about having an artificial intelligence customer service agent pick up their calls, but on our end, it has been a 90% success kind of thing. We have been, obviously, it's something where you have to test, train, try until you get great fit, but we've been listening to the agent's calls, and so far it's been great. My husband didn't believe me because we had a few people, especially when they're a bit older, they don't like having their calls answered by AI. And so they would get a bit frustrated, and they're like, oh, your AI software doesn't work. And then I had my husband listen to all of our company's calls, because I started stepping back to work on this project that I'm working on right now. And I started stepping back from the company, and he's now listening to all of the company's calls, and it's great. It's amazing. Before, we would literally struggle to take all of the company's calls, struggle to provide an answer. So let me tell you something. It's not 100% success, but it is, I would say, a 90% success. I do get a text message whenever, let's say, there's a complaint. The manager gets a text message whenever there's a complaint. My partner gets a text message whenever there's a complaint. We also get text messages after every single call. We get a summary of the call. It says whether the call was positive or if it was negative. We do get some people that when they realize they're speaking to an AI, they hang up. However, the way we work around this is as soon as we have those calls, we get that text message right away. A human actually calls the customer and says, hey, how are you? You just called us. I know you wanted an estimate. Is there something that we can actually help with? And usually it's still not someone that is serious about doing business with us. So it's not something where I'm going to say I'd rather pay a person to handle the calls here in the United States and pay, let's say, $3,000. So I have to say, not only is the system with Retail AI saving us a lot of time and a lot of hours, but it's also saving us a lot of money. Let's go on to tool number 6. This is going to be Runway ML or VO. And this is actually a video software that creates and generates content using artificial intelligence. And so what we did to implement this into our business is that we created a training video for all of our crew and any new employees or new hires, where we set clear expectations. We train them on what we expect from their job, and we train them on how they're supposed to do certain things, such as trimming palms, trimming hedges, mowing, edging, everything. They're seeing this as soon as they start working with us. I recently listened to a video where it explained why employees don't perform and how they're supposed to perform, and there were 3 particular reasons for that. One was because they didn't know it was expected of them. The second is that they know that it's expected of them, but they're not trained to do or perform a certain task. So they either don't do it or do it in a bad way. And number 3 is because they're just not motivated to do so. So in this video that I created using artificial intelligence, the goal was to tell the employees exactly what is expected of them, from how they're supposed to come to work in their uniform, how they present themselves to make sure they look professional, they look clean. We even share tips on hey, this is how you're supposed to edge, this is how you're supposed to mow. Again, this is all created using artificial intelligence. I did not go out 1 minute of the day to record anything about the crews. These are people wearing our uniforms. These are people using the trucks that say our company's name. As soon as they finish watching the video, there's a QR code at the end of the video that they're supposed to scan. It's going to take them to a form that has a short quiz where we just verify that they actually paid attention, and they sign on it and put the date. So we know exactly that, hey, we provided you with the expectations, we provided you with the training. Why didn't you do your job correctly? So that is how we leveraged artificial intelligence to train our crews and make sure that we Just provide them with the tools that they need and the knowledge to ensure that they're set up for success. And let's go on to number 7. And this is my favorite tool of all of them. Out of all these tools, this is definitely my favorite one. This is definitely the one that I love the most. I continue to learn, I continue to implement more things. And this is going to be Make. So Make is essentially an automations platform. It allows you to, it's like a Zapier, but empowered and super powerful, because Zapier is super basic in comparison to Make, in my opinion. Make is what superpowers our CRM, and it superpowers our retail AI voice agent. With Make, we synchronize like all of those tools to make sure that they're all communicating together. And what we're doing with Make is we're making sure that all of our customers that are sending text messages are receiving an automated answer using the same AI agent that is answering to the phone calls. We're giving them the exact same prompt, so we know that they're getting their requests or their complaints answered or their inquiries answered correctly. We make sure that the agent from a text message is able to automatically book a new request for an estimate from a new lead. We're also able to answer to emails automatically. Most importantly, we're able to, after every single visit is completed by a crew member, especially recurring visits, we're automatically sending pictures to the customers after every single service. With Make, we're sending those pictures that the crew takes after they have completed the service at the property. We send those pictures to the customers. And then after we send those pictures, we also send a text message to the customer with a link that says, hey, give us your feedback on this visit. Was it a positive feedback? Or is it a negative feedback? If it's a negative feedback, it turns into a complaint for the crew, and it's being sent to our manager and for our crew, so that we make sure that we either reservice the property if needed, or we do something where the crew is able to fix whatever issue there was. And then if it's a positive feedback, then we automatically send it to Google so that it puts a positive review on our business, so we get more leads and more business. But the options with Make are completely unlimited. Like, we're also getting all of this information from Jobber into a Google sheet where we know exactly what our last 12 months, what the last cancellations were. If we get new clients, we're able to just have all of this data and analyze it as best as we want to. So just the possibilities with Make are completely endless. So any repetitive tasks that you have or any repetitive things that you continue to do in your business, you can simply automate them using Make. We have come to the end of this video. I really hope you found all this information helpful. If you guys are looking for someone to help you with this automations, to help you implement this technology into your business, to make sure your operations run smoothly and you kind of take all of this load off your back, then definitely feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help. If you guys are wanting to implement this by yourselves, there's a million tools on YouTube. That's exactly how I learned to do it, and you can definitely do it by yourself. Definitely subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting out more content to help and guide business owners on how to grow and expand their business using AI technology and other tools that we can definitely leverage. If you want to see how to build this step by step, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you're going to be implementing first on your business, and I would love to know what kind of content you want to be seeing in the future. So definitely comment below and subscribe to the channel. Look forward to the next video. Bye.